Hello and welcome to episode 300 of 5 Minutes with Sean, maybe 10. As I let that number sit in the other day, I started to think to myself, what the hell have I been doing for 299 episodes of this show? What was the point, right? Why did we get here? It started out as an audio-only podcast of a way for me to, at first it was basically used as a deterrent, because if you ever go back and look at the beginning episodes of my show, like episodes 1 or whatever, episode 1 has thousands of views. Episode 2 has less. Episode 3 less than that. Episodes 4 through 299, somewhere in between. And so it was something that we wanted people to be able to get a feel for who I was without having to spend a minute on the phone with me. Had some sort of track record or place to reference about who was Sean, why was he here, what was his point, right? So cool. They're able to do that, and I didn't use it as a way to get business. As I said, I used it as a way to make sure that I didn't have to waste time finding business. And so the first 50 episodes, first year of the show was all audio, which that was awesome for only one reason, is because I didn't have to worry about how I look with you. That's why I wear a hat, man. That's why I wear sweaters and shirts and everything I do. I used to wear none of that. Just kick on a pair of shorts on a warm summer day and record a bunch of episodes. So going now to the audio format with video has been fun because it's brought things into a little bit more of a perspective for people about who I am really realistically seeing it, right? You can hear people talk, but seeing that attitude, that fire, passion, whatever, I guess, resonated with people over the years. And it was something that most people really enjoyed. So when I look at the show, I think about a couple of things it's brought me along the way. It's brought me a lot of super positive attention from a lot of people in our industry who have talked about how great it is to have a platform like this to come on to and talk about things and have it be honest. And, I still have people to this day, dealer, vendor alike, who will text me a story and say, look, I can't say it publicly, or I know it won't get told, but if you wouldn't mind, whatever. And we find ways to craft it in. We find ways to make it a part of the story without revealing anyone, because that shouldn't matter. People's feelings, they might be not barred from saying them, I guess barred, but they might just not be able to express them. Maybe it's because of what they do for a living or who they work for, etc. So we're proud to have been that outlet for people. I enjoy it. I think it makes me happy to know that we can do that. The guest part of the show is something that's really evolved and really, like many things in life, sort of was heightened by COVID. Pre-COVID, I did not like the idea of that whole, interview people. I always said you couldn't get the energy, you couldn't get the feels over the Zoom. And I quickly realized that was in my own head, is that I could quickly connect with anyone, especially with a video component, rather quickly, no matter what. And so before COVID, I only did in-person interviews, so I didn't do that many, as a matter of fact, right? So one of my last ones, honestly, I think was my therapist, Jessica. We went and saw her in I want to say like January of 2020 when we started doing Mental Health Mondays, which I would tell you is probably the next biggest caveat or enjoyment, if you will, side hustle of this whole thing that's come up is the Mental Health Mondays and the impact that it clearly has had with people. It was definitely my intention to do that. I definitely wanted to start the discussion with it because I know that as an industry, it's something that we've all struggled with forever. And I gotta stop that industry shit too. It's people, man. It's humanity. Struggles with the idea of discussion about itself, about its true emotion, how it feels, what it goes through. And so it's something I've been practicing for a long time. And so to be able to bring it to the show, to be able to have fun with it, it meant a shit ton to me. It really does. It still does to this day. I love Mental Health Mondays. I love having people on for Mental Health Mondays. And again, like I tell people, bring the recommendations. Tell me, who should we have on Mental Health Mondays? I want to hear. I want to have them on. I want to have these discussions with people. Continue to push the envelope. We've had a guy, Patrick Moore. Go back and look at his episode. That's a Mental Health Monday that make you think. Mikey Henninger, another great kid, another Mental Health Monday. These are great episodes with people who they're not in the car business. Patrick Moore is probably one of the, it's literally the most nervous I've ever been for an interview in my life, only because of how smart this man is and how he's sort of rethought the idea of rehab into this idea of what he calls prehab, and looking at his map and his just how he got to these conclusions. Fucking nuts. It was intimidating. So I'd never felt that way. He was super cool. He's to this day been a good reference. So love that. And again, the show has brought me into places that I wouldn't have gone as a strictly car guy. And again, was it the first 50 episodes? Nah, there was probably sprinkled in there somewhere were interviews. My buddy Mark Phillips, I think, was on the audio only version in the first 50. There weren't many. There weren't many interviews in the first 50 audio only episodes. I did a lot of, I did a lot of, rants, sitting on the soapbox. I still do it now. I still enjoy that part of the show because first of all, that's why this show isn't sponsored by anyone. Okay, this show does not make me money from a sponsorship perspective. Does it make me money in referrals? People finding my name, hearing my name? Sure, but direct payment to this show is zero. We don't fuck with that. I can't have someone tell me or stop my show to say someone else's name. That's not what this is about. Not at all. I've started that venture somewhere else on the other side of my world. Go ahead and find it in the cannabis world. I'm out there, but this version here, this is for me. This is for my passion, for my energy to run forward on what I think needs to be talked about. And it's led me down some interesting paths. I've only received, this is joking, not joking, one death threat through this show. And it has to do with my most widely watched episode in the history of any of my shows. I think it is, I've seen it so many times, I don't forget it backwards. Episode 238, Why I Hate Electric Vehicles. I believe is the episode that is in question here that I get daily. I will get email notifications of new comments and new likes and shares, and it's ridiculous. It somehow got put in an EV forum across the world, and it's one of those videos. It's my most widely watched by far. It's not even close. Like, this thing is, at the time of this, we're probably approaching like 9,000 views. Okay, and for anyone who knows my stuff is a solid in the 100. That's where we celebrate 100 views. Which again, I realize people say to me all the time, "What the fuck is the point? Why would you waste your time?" I don't think you understand. If 100 people watch it, there's a chance one or two of them is in the car business. There's a chance they know people in the car business. I'm in the fucking car business. That's what it's about. And I can still come here. It doesn't take a bunch of my time. I record episodes like these. Might take me a little longer, 10, 15, 20 minutes. There's notes in front of me, as always. Anyone, again, you watch the show, this is the newest version, but this is my trusty notebook. This is where I go and I write down 3 or 4 ideas, and I just start hashing out little thoughts below them, set up a bunch of lines, and just keep them in this book. Again, just kind of behind the curtain here. When I do interviews, I look like a crazy person. I write like a psycho because I try to follow the conversation and kind of heat map myself a little bit where the passion is, what sticks out to me, so that we can re-reference. I think that's part of being a good interviewer, which I oddly now pride myself on. I didn't previous. I was just figuring out, fuck, who cares? I'm talking to people. Then I started to realize that the interviews could go places and be a little bit more profound for even the people on the other side. So then I thought, well, we might as well get good at it. So I just started to really hone in on what I liked and didn't like about my own approach. I'm a self-learner. By that, I mean I learn about myself through myself. I don't go watching other shows. I don't go listening to other podcasts. I don't listen to other podcasts. I don't watch video blogs. I don't use YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of this weird world that I exist in, that I've taught myself what I like about what I do. And I think that it resonates with people, and we've never spent $1 promoting the show in the life of the show. It's something that's just been organic. It's been shared with other people. Other people have told other people. But I can tell you this, this marks 300 straight Mondays, and that number is probably low only because of the Carbiz Chronicles, which was our spin-off interview part of the show way back when. I wanted to get out and interview people before COVID, and I wanted to be there with them and live in touch. And so 2018, we started out on the road. And so that show we didn't do this year. It just didn't work out with everything else we were kind of doing. And honestly, if I'm going to go back to the Chronicles, I think I want to go back and hit the road. I think I want to take people out, go out to other cities, see other car people, sit, chat with them in their environment. It was a blast. My wife and I and our pups, we had a blast. Absolutely awesome time. So overall, the biggest lessons that I've learned from this show are that you never know when content's going to hit. That's Talk to Me by the Electric Vehicle. That episode was live for, I'd say probably 8 to 10 months before anyone noticed. And then when everyone noticed, it just freaking went nuts. It went from 800 views to 5,000 views in a matter of moments, which for me is my buddy Tim Rowe would call it baby viral. I would just call it Sean viral. That is as cool and crazy to get comments from all over the world, to have to hit the translate button on the comments. That to me is cool. And honestly, the conversation was pretty wild. I really thought it would be a lot of hate mail. It was a lot of people agreeing with me, which is funny. It was more my frustration with the whole thing, but it turned out. And then I did a second version months later that hasn't gotten nearly the same attention, but somehow started to pick up more attention, obviously, probably because of this one here. But yeah, so the other lesson I think that is the takeaway for me is that you have to be consistent, right? I talked about the 300 straight Mondays. People set their calendars to it almost, it feels like, man. People know it's Monday because they know the show's out. They know the show's live. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And if the show, for some reason, we have a glitch or whatever, doesn't get posted or whatever happens, if by 10 o'clock, Central, 11 o'clock Eastern, my phone blows up. It texts me, hey, man, everything all right? I see the show today. What happened? Blah, 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 blah. Again, that's a really cool part of what we've done here. So I just want to thank you. Everybody who watches, my wife Stephanie, my ops director Jeff Hill, thank you. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. I think the next 300 episodes are probably going to get even crazier because the more I do it, the more I'm comfortable with saying just about anything, which has only, again, led to one death threat. I've had two corporate CEO, gigantic company threats in my DMs. Those were fun. I wanted to publish them. The lawyer said no. And I had one big company mad at me, but that had nothing to do with the podcast. They were alerted to me from my podcast, then heard about my activities. So ultimately, this show has been nothing but a blessing. And I hope that's the way it continues to be. I hope that you continue to come out and support it. And we thank you so much for the support to this end. Go out, have yourselves a wonderful rest of the beginning part of a new year. Next week on the show, sit down, buckle up. It is going to be April Simmons, Matt Raymond, service schedulers, and Michael Barrich. We're going to be talking appointments, my man. Thank you guys so much. Have yourselves a great week.